Alan P. Agin states in his article titled Prescription Drug Abuse from Bad to Worse that in the United States alone, 20% or roughly 52 million people ages 12 years and older have reported using prescription drugs for non medical reasons at least once in their lifetime. Unfortunately, the United States has been given a quandary, a problem of epidemic proportions. Prescription drug abuse, by definition, means the misuse of a medication in any way, shape, or form that was not intended by the prescribing party. That ranges anywhere from taking a friend's painkiller because backaches increases to taking mom's diazepam because anxiety levels are too high and you can't sleep at night, and to the far extreme of crushing tablets to snort and or inject the powders. Therefore, if the consumer's name is not on the label of that pill bottle, by definition, the medication is being abused and illegally consumed. Once a person becomes addicted, they put all matters aside, including their families, friends, children, health, personal hygiene, school, and even work. According to the article titled Prescription Drug Abuse and Addiction Signs, Symbols, and Symptoms, there are 3 factors that contribute to addiction, and the first being genetic. Individuals who have relatives with addiction problems are more likely to develop addictions themselves. The second being brain chemistry. The longer substances are abused, the more it interferes with the body's ability to create these chemicals on its own. And the third being environmental, and this includes individuals that use prescription medications to deal with the daily stresses of life. It is unequivocal that health problems will arise with long-term abuse. Some of the health issues range from chronic to severe organ damage, like the lungs and livers for an example, chronic to severe brain damage, and respiratory depression. According to the article, How Do Opioids Affect the Brain and Body?, found at drugabuse.gov, when the active ingredient attaches to the receptor, it reduces the perception of pain. Opioids can also produce drowsiness, mental confusion, nausea, constipation, and depressed respiration. Depressed respiration is an aspect that majority of the people do not contemplate upon when consuming excessive amounts of opiates. Therefore, slowing down the peristalsis of all major organs like the esophagus, lungs, heart, and intestines. Peristalsis is the expansion and contraction of organ tissue, thus the reason as to why breathing slows down, and in long-term use it causes constipation. Death is something that cannot be avoided if abuse continues. Sooner or later it will come. Addiction does not discriminate by race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or age. All people are prone to drug addiction. This is a pernicious and pestiferous problem that we have, and the United States Food and Drug Administration ought to launch a campaign on the ravaging effects of prescription drug abuse. And finally, both the FDA and the DEA began tackling this issue after seeing a rise in the abuse more than a decade ago. Consequently, more and more states are implementing stricter rules on the dispensing of scheduled narcotics. If the United States continues on this downward spiral with this matter, sooner than later, situation will become outlandishly grotesque. It has taken almost 2 decades for the government to react to this problem. And I retort, it is a situation that will not go away overnight, but there is something that we as the population can do. On a yearly basis, millions upon millions of dollars are being poured into advertisements that speak out against the dangers of smoking cigarettes, drunk driving, alcohol consumption, illicit drug abuse, bullying, domestic violence, and the list goes on and on. Why not against the dangers of prescription drugs abuse? Advertisement for unused prescription drug return programs exist, but rarely seen. Why is that? Education is empowerment. Society needs to be highly educated on this matter, and one very effective way of educating the masses is through advertisement. Whether it be billboards, pamphlets, televised commercials, or any other educational platforms. Education is key. Let us educate ourselves. It may not fix the problem overnight, but at least it is being slowly but surely tackled. Now imagine what this would be like. You turn on your local news channel. Whether it is considered to be fake news or not, rest assured that Fox and Friends is not the only news outlet there is out there, okay? You turn it on and the news anchors say that the state of Arizona or the state of emergency has ended in Arizona. And prescription drug abuse is at an all-time low. How would you feel? Would you feel glee? Would you feel elated like myself? All of this is possible to accomplish. A public that does not want to change will never change. But a public that does want to change will change. As corny as it may sound, it is true. That is why people must be informed and educated of the atrocities that come with prescription drug abuse. Now that we have all this new information at our hands, let us educate the masses. Educate our friends, families, and loved ones of the atrocities that are to come with prescription drug abuse. I encourage you to call or write your congressman or congresswoman and let them know how you feel about this epidemic, and let them know that new programs must be started and implemented. Let them know that you are tired of this state of emergency. Like I previously mentioned, education is key. We can start by educating ourselves first, then our families, and from there our loved ones, and from there let it ripple out to the masses. Thank you.